I'm only with you until someone richer comes along, she said after I paid her student loans, so I canceled everything and disappeared. Now she's bankrupt, dumped by her sugar daddy, and begging me to talk. Hey, before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks. I never thought I'd be writing this story, but after everything that's happened, I need to get it out. Maybe it'll help someone else avoid the mistake I made, thinking that love and financial support were the same thing. My name's Mark, I'm 28, and until 8 months ago, I thought I was in the relationship of my life. Jessica and I had been together for 3 years. I'm a marketing manager at a decent firm, nothing spectacular, but I make good money and I'm responsible with it. She worked in real estate, ambitious as hell, always talking about the big deals she was going to close and the lifestyle she wanted. The thing is, I loved her ambition. I loved that she dreamed big. So when she was struggling with her student loans, $85,000 worth, I didn't hesitate to help. We moved in together, and I gradually took over more and more of her payments. First, it was just helping with groceries, then utilities, then I was covering her loan payments entirely. Over 2 years, I paid off every cent of that debt. I also bought her a car when hers broke down, covered most of our living expenses, and funded what she called her networking dinners and events. I never threw it in her face. Never made her feel guilty about it. I thought that's what you did when you loved someone. You supported their dreams. I was an idiot. The discovery happened on a Tuesday night in March. We were having dinner at home. Well, I was eating. She was glued to her phone as usual, texting and smiling at the screen. "Who's Richard?" I asked casually, having caught a glimpse of the name as she typed. Her head snapped up. "Just a client, Mark." God, you're so paranoid. "Clients don't usually text about hotel rooms at midnight," I said, nodding toward her screen where I'd seen the message preview. Her face went white, then red. "You're reading my messages now? That's such a violation of privacy." "It popped up on your screen, Jess." I wasn't snooping. I set down my fork. "But now I'm curious. Who is Richard, and why is he texting you about the Ritz-Carlton?" She stared at me for a long moment, and I watched something shift in her expression. The panic faded, replaced by something colder. Something almost relieved. "Fine," she said, setting her phone down with deliberate calm. "Yes, I'm seeing Richard. And you know what? I'm not sorry." The words hit me like a physical blow. "After everything I've done for you? Your loans, the car, that's exactly the problem," she interrupted, her voice rising. "You think throwing money at me makes you enough. Richard doesn't just pay bills, he buys experiences. He shows me what real success looks like. So this is about money?" I could barely get the words out. "It's about potential, Mark. You're comfortable being mediocre. I'm not." She leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. "You make decent money for a normal person, but Richard? He owns half the commercial real estate in the city. He takes me to restaurants you couldn't afford to look at. He's showing me properties in Manhattan that cost more than you make in 5 years. I felt like I was drowning. "Manhattan? What are you talking about?" "We're looking at moving in together. He's getting divorced, and we want to start fresh somewhere that matches our lifestyle." "Our lifestyle?" "Jess, I've been funding your lifestyle for 2 years. She rolled her eyes. "And I appreciated it. But that doesn't mean I owe you my future. Richard can give me the life I actually want." "What life?" "He's married. He's getting divorced. We're looking at condos in Manhattan. This is real, Mark." Her voice took on an almost pitying tone. "Look, you're a good guy. You're stable, you're reliable. But that's all you are." I stared at her, trying to process what I was hearing. This woman I'd loved, supported, sacrificed for, was talking about me like I was a placeholder. So what am I supposed to do with all this? "Our lease, our plans. I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're good at practical things." The dismissal in her voice was devastating. But what came next was worse. "Look, Mark, I need you to understand something." She leaned forward, speaking slowly like she was explaining something to a child. "I was always honest about my ambitions. I want more than this." She gestured around our apartment, the apartment I paid for. "I'm only with you until someone richer comes along." Well, someone richer came along. The silence that followed was deafening. I sat there, looking at this woman I thought I knew, and realized I'd been in love with someone who didn't exist. "When did you become this person?" I asked quietly. "I've always been this person, Mark. You just chose not to see it." Maybe she was right. Maybe the signs were always there, and I'd ignored them because I loved the idea of being her hero, her provider, her stepping stone to something better. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just nodded and said, "Okay, okay." She looked surprised, like she'd expected a fight. "Yeah, okay. If that's how you feel, then we're done." Just like that. Just like that. She stared at me for a moment, then shrugged. "I'll be staying at Richard's tonight. We can figure out the apartment stuff tomorrow." She packed a bag and left. I sat in our living room, my living room, and made a plan. The next morning, while she was at work, I started making calls. I removed my name from her credit cards, canceled the ones I'd been paying for, and transferred my direct deposit to a new account she couldn't access. I called our landlord and explained that I'd be breaking the lease. I was willing to pay the penalty. I called my company's HR department and requested an immediate transfer to our Los Angeles office. They had an opening, and I had enough goodwill built up that they fast-tracked the paperwork. By the time Jessica came home that evening, I was gone. I'd packed everything that mattered to me and left the apartment key on the kitchen counter next to a note that simply said, "The lease is paid through the end of the month. After that, you're on your own." I blocked her number, blocked her on all social media, and drove to California. I didn't leave a forwarding address. For 6 months, I heard nothing. I threw myself into work, made new friends, and slowly started to rebuild my life. I won't lie, it hurt. It hurt like hell. But there was also something liberating about starting over, knowing that everything I was building was mine. Then the messages started. At first, it was just missed calls from unknown numbers. Then voicemails. "Mark, I know you're getting these. I need to explain. Richard wasn't what I thought. Can we just talk?" I deleted it without listening to the whole thing. A week later. "It's been 3 months, Mark. This is childish. I made a mistake, okay? I said things I didn't mean. Just call me back." Then, "I'm outside your old apartment. Where are you? Your coworkers won't tell me anything. This is insane, Mark. We had something real." I found out later, through a mutual friend who still talked to her, what had happened. Richard had never had any intention of leaving his wife. He played Jessica exactly the way he'd played a dozen other young women before her. After 6 months of stringing her along with promises and expensive dinners, he'd ghosted her completely when his wife found out and threatened divorce. Without Richard's financial support and without me paying her bills, Jessica couldn't maintain the lifestyle she'd grown accustomed to. She'd been evicted from the expensive apartment she'd moved into, her credit was destroyed, and her career had taken a hit when word got around the real estate community about her affair with a married client. Richard had made sure she was blacklisted from the high-end properties she'd been trying to break into. She'd had to move back in with her parents. The voicemails kept coming, getting more desperate. "Mark, please." I was confused, okay? I thought I wanted something different, but I realized what we had was real. "I miss us. I miss you taking care of me. I miss feeling secure." That one made me laugh. She missed feeling secure. She missed me taking care of her. Not me. Not our relationship. The security I provided. But she wasn't done. Through some mutual friends, she found out where I was working. And last month, she showed up. I was leaving my office building when I saw her standing by my car. She looked different, older, tired, and definitely not wearing the designer clothes she used to favor. "Hello, Mark." I stopped walking but didn't approach. "Jessica, what are you doing here? I need to talk to you." She took a step closer, and I noticed her hands were shaking. "Please, just 5 minutes. I don't think we have anything to talk about." "Yes, we do. We have everything to talk about." Her voice cracked. "Mark, please." I was scared, okay? I thought I wanted something different, but I realized what we had was real. "I miss us. Us." I kept my voice level. "There was no us, Jessica. You made that very clear." I was confused. Richard promised me things, and when those promises fell through, suddenly you remembered I existed. That's not fair. I loved you. I looked at her for a long moment. This woman who had systematically used me, who had crushed me with her honesty about my place in her life, was now standing in front of me claiming love. "No, you loved what I provided. There's a difference." "That's not true. What we had was real, Mark. The way you took care of me, the way you supported my dreams, the way I paid your bills, you mean." "Don't be cruel." "Cruel?" I almost laughed. "Jessica, you told me I was a placeholder. You said you were only with me until someone richer came along. How is acknowledging that being cruel?" Her face crumpled. I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. No, you said things you did mean. You were just honest about it. I took a step back. And honestly, I'm grateful. You showed me exactly who you were. So that's it. You won't even try? What about everything we built together? We didn't build anything together. I built something, and you took from it until you found something better. The only difference now is that the something better turned out to be a lie. She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Please, Mark. I know I hurt you, but I'm different now. I understand what matters. I understand what real love is. Do you? Because everything you've said in the last 10 minutes has been about what you need, what you miss, what you want. Just like always. That's not, you miss feeling secure. You miss me taking care of you. You miss the life I provided. I shook my head. You don't miss me, Jessica. You miss your safety net. I do miss you. I miss talking to you. I miss being with you. When? When did we ever just talk? When were you ever present when we were together? You were always on your phone, always networking, always looking for the next opportunity. I unlocked my car. You were never with me, Jess. You were just using me as a base of operations. So what? You're just going to throw away 3 years. I'm not throwing away anything. You already did that. I opened my car door. You said you were only with me until someone richer came along. Well, I'm not richer, but I'm definitely better. And you're not worth settling for anymore. She stood there, mouth open, as I got in my car and drove away. I haven't heard from her since. I know some people might think I was too harsh, but here's the thing. She showed me who she really was. Not in a moment of anger, but in calm, calculated honesty. She told me I was temporary. She told me I wasn't enough. She told me she was only with me until something better came along. When something better didn't work out, she wanted to come back to her safety net. But I'm not a safety net. I'm not a backup plan. I'm not a placeholder until the real thing comes along. I'm worth more than that. We all are. The last I heard, through mutual friends, she's working at a small real estate office in the suburbs, living with her parents, and single. Richard reconciled with his wife and moved to another state. Her credit is still destroyed, and she's struggling to rebuild her career. Meanwhile, I got a promotion. I'm dating someone amazing who contributes equally to our relationship, and I sleep well at night knowing that everything in my life is built on honesty and mutual respect. Sometimes the best revenge isn't plotting or scheming or trying to hurt someone back. Sometimes it's just refusing to be someone's consolation prize. Sometimes it's just walking away and building something better. And sometimes, the most devastating thing you can say to someone who discarded you is simply, you're not worth it anymore. Because in the end, that's exactly what Jessica was, not worth it. Not worth my money, not worth my time, not worth my love, and definitely not worth my future. I learned a hard lesson about the difference between supporting someone's dreams and being used to fund them. I learned that love without respect is just exploitation with feelings attached. Most importantly, I learned that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to play the game. She wanted someone richer. She got someone temporary instead. And when temporary ended, she discovered that I had become something she never thought I'd be. Unavailable. The irony is perfect. She discarded me for being not enough, and now I'm the one who thinks she's not enough. Funny how that works. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.